This is Robert with Pioneer Smokehouses, and today we are going to use this Weber Smokey Mountain to cook some chicken thighs. Now this is just a simple cook. We're not doing anything really extreme. I wanted to go ahead and use the thermometers, and I wanted to demonstrate some air control and just some basic simple stuff and cook something that sounded good for dinner. So I'm going to go ahead and glove up. Typically I don't do that until I get to the food, but with this smoker, sometimes the charcoal gets away from me and I like to have my gloves on to keep my hands clean. We'll go ahead and do that real quick. I've already started a charcoal chimney and it's on the side over here. And go ahead and grab some charcoal. Got about 1/4 of a bag of charcoal here, so about 4 pounds. And I'm just going to pour that in here. One of my favorite things about this smoker is that the air control is so good that we can cook with the minimum amount of charcoal and be just fine. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to arrange this into a little bit of a mountain. Or shall I say a volcano. Explain that in a second. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the center of this out. And the reason is that I want to get all the lit charcoal right in there in the middle. Keep going. I think that's about as good as I can do. So I don't know how well you can see that. So I'm going to go ahead and pour the lit charcoal in there. It's not a particularly large amount. But it is well lit, so it is super hot. So get that in there like that. And then I want to make sure I don't have any strays running around like in the corners and stuff. I want to keep it all right up here on the top. What this is going to do is kind of a hybrid minion method. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the body on real quick. If we don't start controlling the airflow a little bit, those charcoals will actually start to burn freely. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce the back ones to 0, and the front one will still leave that fully open. I'll let it go for another minute before we put the main lid on, just so it gets going good. So I brought out everything that we're going to use for today's cook on a cookie sheet. When I do the poultry, I like to be a little more careful than when I'm doing other foods like beef or pork. I know that pork is still questionable, but these days it's pretty clean. So we've got some olive oil spray. We've got some poultry seasoning. We have my favorite bird rub, which is Cosmo's Dirty Bird. Thermometer. Then we have 2 turkey thighs. We've got a meat tenderizer. And of course, the grill mat, and then the cookie sheet. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of these probes in here. So there is a hole right here in the side, and it's a grommet, and you can just feed that probe right through there. And this tray is still not too hot to work with, so that's perfect. That through there. And then I will push it right through here. That tray back in there. And then I'll put the grill mat in, just like that. I cut it to fit, and then I'll set this right here temporarily until we're ready for it. This will go down here on the bottom leg just so it doesn't get hot, but it's not directly on the ground. Well, it doesn't look like it's going to work. I think that's aluminum. So it'll sit down there. If it's not hot at all, you can put it on a steel surface. Now here we have the 2 turkey thighs. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and open those packages up. I think the store pre-trims them, but if not, I'll have to run in and get a trimming knife. Oh yeah, we look real good here. I don't think we're going to have to do any work there. Now the way this tenderizer here works is when you push down on it, it comes through the holes. And that's the safest way to use it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually remove the blade and use it by hand. This way I can go through this real quickly. I'm just trying to push into the meat just a little bit and through all the skin. What I want to do is I want any of that fat trapped in the skin to come through. In these places where it's whiter, that's where there's more fat, so you really need to make sure that you do a good job of puncturing that just like that. Same thing here. Check the other side. Again, I'm just trying to puncture the skin. I'm not worried about the rest of it. Okay. I'm going to set this aside and wash this separately. This one will just get rinsed off. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a light coat of this poultry seasoning on here. I was reading on one of the forums that people are wrapping their bottles with saran wrap, which I thought was a great idea. Another person takes and puts a glove on their bottle. I take my stuff and I wash it with soap and water with everything else, let it sit on the counter to dry, and then I put it away afterwards. And the main seasoning in this poultry seasoning is sage. And I think that sage and turkey go together just amazingly well. And then the Cosmos Dirty Bird is absolutely my favorite. I love the cow cover also. Put it on there, and then I'm going to use a light spray of olive oil. It's almost like a surface binder, but not so much. And then just a little bit more. Just like that. There's a bunch in the tray, but I'm not going to worry too much about that today. So same thing. Don't overdo it because the sage can get pretty strong. With the Dirty Bird, my only concern is the salt level. So do go easy on that your first couple of times until you're comfortable with it. I'm super sensitive to salt, so if you're not, I think you'll be just fine. All right, and that is all we need to do to prepare this. So then we're going to go ahead and put it on the rack. After we get it on the rack, we'll check and make sure we didn't knock any of the seasonings off. And it could use a little more. Let's hit it with just a little more. That looks great. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to feel around a little bit for the bone. I want to get right in here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this probe and I'm going to stick it just like that. And then we're right into the meat here. You can see here that we've got the main thigh bone going here, and then we've got the back right here. So that way we got right next to that bone without touching it. So that'll get us a really good reading. And for comparison, you can see that we're pretty deep in there. And then this one, we're going to pop right in here so we can double check our ambient temperature. And that'll just hold it there. I like to kind of tilt it up just a little bit. I'll go ahead and put the lid on this now. I'm going to get the thermometer out here. And then I'll go ahead and switch it on to temperature. And the top one here is set to poultry at 165. So I'm going to switch over to probe 2. And I'm going to change that up to 250 because that's what our target cooking temperature is. We want to be in the 250. Actually, let's go up to 275 because I don't want the alarm going off every 5 seconds. And just like that, that is set. Currently, we're showing an internal temperature of 34 degrees, and the temperature thermometer is showing 134. The LED is failing. This one is kind of old, and I just actually bought a brand new one. But I think part of that's because I keep leaving this thing outside in the rain. Oops. I'll just leave that down there where it won't get hot, and we're good to go. So I'm going to give this some time to heat up, and I'm going to stay here and babysit it for a few minutes. And then if I see something important, we'll come back. So for you, that'll just be 1 second. I have no idea how long it'll be for me. So I'm back, and it's been about an hour and a half, and things have been going along great. I did have a little bit of trouble getting the temperature to ramp up where I wanted in the beginning, but that's okay. A slow climb is not a problem. Those big jumps up and then jump down and then up, that really can affect your meat quality, and really that will dry out your food faster than anything. So I want to go ahead and grab the thermometer, and keep in mind that the temperature probe is right here, so it's going to read just a touch higher than it is. And ideal cooking temperature for this is in the 275 plus range. And right here we're showing 274. I know it's hard to read because this thing is broken, but the internal temperature is 147 degrees. And we're going for 165. This is thighs, so if we go just a touch over, it'll be just fine. If it was breast, we probably want to pull it at about 157 and rest it, so that way it would rise up to the finished temperature, because we don't want to go above it with a breast. That'll dry out really fast. Now, let's go ahead and take a look real quick. I want to give a close-up there so that way you can see that. You can see the edges are taking on a nice little smoke there. And that is going to be done, so I'm just going to peel a little piece. Oh, look at that pinkish color in there. That's the color of the smoke. Good. Go ahead and close that. I don't think I got enough of a piece, but I can taste the flavoring, the charcoal smoke flavor there. It is definitely moving along great. In about 30 minutes, I'll get out another thermometer and I'll double check and make sure that this one's correct. I put in the au gratin cauliflower, so that's all done. All we're waiting on right now is for the turkey thighs to finish up. That should be about 45 minutes, so I'll see you in 1 second. So we're back, and it's been about 30 minutes, and we've got the alarm going off, and you can see it beeping there. I'm going to go ahead and just switch this off. Going to put on a glove here. Take that off. I'll be able to pull this out of there just like that. What I like to do, I like to set this in here, and we'll let it just continue in here so it gets cleaned up pretty well. Let's see if we can do this. And just like that, we got them both out of there, no problem. Go ahead and put this back on there. I'm just going to let that roll along. Let's go ahead and take a little slice here. That looks really juicy. I want to show you that. Going to back up just a little bit here. All right, now I'm just going to cut this in half. That piece right there with a lot of seasoning on it there. That touch of the poultry seasoning that I put on first is just enough to get out that sage flavor that goes so well with turkey. And then of course it's really well completed with the Dirty Bird. And the crust is just fine. It could be a little crispier, and I do have something next time I cook poultry to solve that. But today we're just going to go with it just like this. I think that we have another successful cook on this Weber Smokey Mountain, and I got to tell you that this really is one of the best smokers that you can get, and I would recommend it to anybody, especially if you're like what I call level 2. When I think about people being smokers, I think of 1, 2, and 3 and beyond. 1 would be you're a beginner. 2 would be you understand what's going on and you're ready to move to the next level. And 3 would be you've mastered something like this and you're ready to do offsets and things that require tending. When you've spent all night tending an offset, then you're level 3. If you saw anything you liked in the video, there will be affiliate links below. But above those will be the link to the review for this smoker, and also there'll be a link to an article to go with this for, I don't know if it'll be turkey legs or whether I'll get the thigh article done in the time that this releases, but one of the two of those will be down there. Now, it's time for me to go get dinner, so thanks for watching. Have a great day.